This thesis and dissertation services training is going to focus on preparing your documents and setting up your headings for an automated table of contents. I've got one of our templates open here. It's the 2007 version for the College of Arts and Sciences. So the headings in this document have been set already, but I will show you some of the modifications that you have available to you. To start with, the first heading that's set in the document is going to be on the abstract. If you click in the abstract heading and then scroll through your styles that are at the top of the screen, you'll see that it's set in heading 1 style. If you find it easier, you can always pop this out to the side and then you can look at your whole list a little bit more easily if that helps you. So it's set in heading 1 style, and this is the style that you should be using for chapter headings, the headings on your references, the headings in your appendices, basically all of those new top level sections. So we have the abstract in heading 1, the acknowledgments are in heading 1. One thing you will notice is if you click in table of contents, it's changed to normal. And that's because we don't want an entry for the table of contents to appear in the table of contents itself. So then we have the list of tables, list of figures, and chapter 1, and so on. If you are working in a chapter and you need to create a new heading because as you've been editing it you realize there's some new information that really kind of demands its own section, you can just insert a new line of text, type in your heading, and then apply the style. Because this is the first subordinate heading to Chapter 1, we're going to place Heading 2 Style, and it has set it to be centered and plain text, which is correct for APA 5. Now that we've got this applied, we can come up to the table of contents, which is already created. You just need to update it. To update the table of contents, you will right-click and choose Update Field. In this box, you can choose to update the page numbers only, which is great if you've just made some changes to the content, or update the entire table if you've added, removed, or edited your headings at all. So we'll update the entire table and click OK. And so now our subheading for Chapter 1 appears in the table of contents. If you are using a template and it is set up for a style guide that you are not using, it's very easy to modify how your headings appear. So, for example, this template is set up with APA 5 style headings. Some colleges require the use of APA 6. Other colleges will ask you to use a journal style if you're preparing your work for a journal, or if you've just got a need that would take it away from using APA style for whatever reason. You can easily change these. For example, APA 6 style is quite different from APA 5, so we can go in and change this. I'm going to start by setting the style to normal, so now it's completely plain, and then I'm going to go and right-click or click on this little arrow that shows up in the heading, or you can right-click on the style up here and choose Modify. So APA 6 has the heading styles in bold, they're centered, and something that's different from APA 5, they should appear in upper and lower case. Now, the templates that are set for APA 5 have a special setting on the font which makes them appear in all caps. So we will uncheck this box. We want to make sure that we've got Times New Roman, that it's in bold, it's 12 point. That looks good. We've got it double spaced, so we should be in pretty good shape. We'll say OK, and then we'll click and apply heading 1 style. So this looks great. An alternate way, if you're looking to do this quickly, is to simply make a modification to your style. APA 6's second level heading is bold and left aligned, double spaced. This looks pretty good, but heading 2 is still showing as plain up here. To update this quickly, we can right click and say update heading 2 to match selection. So now heading 2 should be bold, and if we come down, you'll see it's done the next heading, level 2 heading as well. So now we're on heading 3. Heading 3 in APA 6 is bold and left aligned, but it has an indent as if it were a new paragraph. So to make this modification, we're going to need to first update it to match, so we're pretty close to what we want, and then we'll have to do some further modifications. We'll come down to modify, and this is controlled down here in paragraph. So we want an indentation on the first line by 0.5 inches. This is pretty standard, so it should be what shows up automatically when you switch to first line indent. And we'll say OK. So there we are. Anything else that was level 3 is now correct. So there's a level 2 and a level 3 right next to each other, so you can see that. Another thing I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to create a level 4 heading, just so that we have one and we can get some of that information in there. Level 4 heading in APA 6 is going to be almost exactly the same as APA level 3, except it's bold and italic. So we've got this the way we want. We've got the line indent on it already. We'll go up to level 4, right click, update to match the selection, and just for good measure I'll update level 5 in the same way. APA 6's 5th level heading is italic and indented. There. And we will right click, update, but it looks like we need to get it double spaced, so I'll need to go in and modify, and you can set the double spacing right here. So there, we've corrected all of the heading levels to APA 6 style in this template. It has created a bit of an issue where we've got a heading that is stuck at the bottom of the page and not really sticking with the paragraph it belongs to. You can correct this in a couple ways. If you're pretty much near the end of your editing, just move everything down. But it's created some kind of weird spacing. So if I remove this and then make some modifications to the heading style, it'll take care of it. So let's go in and modify, and it's under paragraph, and then this is something new. It's line and page breaks, and we want to make sure we have keep with next, and it's already on here for this one, so let's check with heading 4. Modify, paragraph, aha, keep with next, okay, and we probably need to correct this on heading 5 as well. Modify, paragraph, keep with next. So now, without entering another return at the end of these lines and making a whole bunch of blank space, all of these headings stick together and they stay with the next paragraph. So if we were to increase the length of this paragraph by a few lines, I'm going to copy and paste. We don't have 3 or 4 extra blank lines here from where I might have done that before to get it down to the next page. So this saves you some extra work. So now that we've added a couple of headings in, let's review and go up and update the table of contents. Okay, so we're going to right click, Update field, update the entire table, OK. Now nothing happened. And I can show you how to correct this. The reason nothing happened is because the only new headings we added were heading 4 and heading 5. And this table of contents has been set up not to show 4th and 5th level headings. So to correct this, I'm going to go to References and Table of Contents. I'm going to click, and then I'm going to come down to Insert Table of Contents. Right here, where it says Show Levels 4, 5, I'm going to say OK. Do you want to replace? Yes. So everything looks good, except I've managed to get a very small bit of type in here, and it looks inconsistent with the rest of the styles that have been placed up here. So to correct this, we will do the same thing. Insert Table of Contents, and we'll go to Modify. Now, because these correspond to heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, heading 5, and it's heading 5 that's looking a little funny, we'll select TOC5 and click Modify. We want this to be 12 point to match all the other size text, and it looks like that is all we need to do. So I'm going to click OK. OK, and then we can look at the preview, see that everything's looking okay. Looks good to me. We'll click OK. Yes, so we want to replace. There we go. Everything looks consistent now. The only thing that's not consistent, our heading 1 doesn't match the table of contents. So I'm going to retype Table of Contents, highlight it, and change it to bold. Now everything looks pretty consistent. I'm pretty happy with what we've done, and our table of contents is ready to be automatically updated no matter how much we add to the document.